I think we want to talk a little bit about the college basketball, right?
Well, it's more NBA than college basketball, right? But yeah,
about the NBA. I'm
exactly.
sorry, right? But I meant because it affects college,
right? We were talking before the show, and Aaron Torres brought it up during the interview last hour.
Yeah, he said he wanted to hear Chris's opinion on it.
Exactly. And so,
just for people who don't know,
according to multiple reports, first by ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, it's looking like the NBA and the players' union are gonna reach an agreement on a new deal. They have a deadline of midnight tonight Eastern time, and multiple outlets are saying this is going to get done. They're ironing out all the details right now. But one of the big talking points that come out of this is the one-and-done rule, which we had expected for a long time was going to get removed in this new CBA, looks like it's going to stay in there.
What a disappointing.
And that negotiation has kind of been pulled off the table as part of this new deal.
I think it's a bummer, a disappointment. Again, the union fails its membership, Rob G, from the standpoint of there's just no reason. There's no rhyme or reason why kids can't play. If you're a prodigy, right, and you're good enough and somebody wants to draft you, then you should be able to go to the NBA. You can do so many things in this country at 18 years old, including fight for your country, right? Does it make sense?
Absolutely. And you know what's funny, Rob, is we always talk on this show, about the NFL player union, MLB,
right,
the strongest and the weakest. What I think this shows, and I could be wrong, but this is just my opinion, that the NBA players union, obviously they got guaranteed contracts. They're doing a really good job on this. But what it tells me is that they're really concerned about having veteran players kind of get pushed out to the side. And this is them saying, we're going to look out for the 10, 11, 12-year vet hanging on at the end of a bench who's a good locker room presence over these young kids who are going to get drafted because they got a lot of talent, who are going to take up a roster spot, but are not actually ready to play. Because, NBA teams are always going to choose the young guy over the old guy.
But my issue is that's the onus should be on management and the teams that pick people who aren't ready to play. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not the kid's fault. If the kid's not ready to go, then they shouldn't draft him. But if a kid is a prodigy and is great, you could go to Hollywood and be a movie actor. You could do almost anything, and they just tell you can't play basketball at 18 years old or right after high school. Michelle Wie, when she went to the LPGA tour, what was she, Rob G, 16? She was 16 playing professional golf.
Wasn't Jennifer Capriati
14, Chris, right.
Yeah, I'm back, obviously.
Yes.
Sorry about that technical difficulty.
But you know what I'm saying. I have an issue with it. I don't understand.
Well, first of all, I think Rob G hit it on the head. The reason that players didn't go to bat for this and fight for it is because a lot of veterans over the years did feel like, and they were. They're better than that 18-year-old coming right out of high school. And the team is choosing the 18-year-old over a guy that's 35, but at this point is better than that kid. So they are doing that, Rob, to save these veterans jobs for another year or two or whatever. But look, I'm not like that passionate about it one way or the other. But what I do feel like, Rob, is that what is fair is what you're saying. What's fair is that the kids, if they're good enough coming out of high school, they can go to the NBA.
If you're a prodigy, it's not a lot. You're talking about a Kobe or a LeBron or Kevin Garnett.
Well, but then there are other players, Rob, as you notice, who've tried to enter the draft, not been good enough, and then they fall by the wayside. Now, to me, the answer to that is if a kid, it comes out of high school, and look, you're going to have a bunch of kids do this if this is the case, but still, if a kid declares for the NBA out of high school and he's not ready, he gets drafted in the second round or not drafted at all, let him go to the G League.
Right, he can go. He can
for a while, they wouldn't let him go. That was the problem, which I never understood. But just let him go to the G League.
And the same thing before they changed the rule in college where you could go back, Chris, if you know what I mean. Like, that was punishment. That was to kind of scare them. Them that say, you better not declare because if you do and you don't get picked, you're done. And that's what it was. It was a straight up. There was no reason that they shouldn't have been welcomed back to go back to college or finish your education and you tried it. It's okay. It ain't the end of the world.
If the coach goes to the NBA and
Yes.
it's horrible, he gets to go back.
I mean,
I totally agree.
It's awful.
So now I will say this. I think for quality of play, it's better to have older players. There's the once in a generation LeBron. LeBron's really the only guy that came straight out of high school and was great right away. But I think that's best for quality of play. But what's fair, and as you said, Rob, they can go play baseball, they can play tennis,
golf,
they can sing, they can rap, they can go, they can do any other thing.
Go to the military, Chris.
Exactly. They can go die in a war for our country. They can go work at McDonald's and not go to college and nobody cares.
Exactly, but you can't play in the NBA if you're a prodigy. Come on, they let me down with this. They let this whole idea of just make it fair. And if some of the kids, it's not going to be everybody, but some of the kids will get picked. Some won't, and some will make
Let them go to the G League. Put a safety net there. And if they're not good enough, they'll never get out of the G League. And they won't even last very long in that. That's fine. But I agree. I mean, look, I'm not been out of shape. I don't think I'm taking it as badly as you might be. But I do think what's fair is that they should be able to come right out of high school. I mean, that just, that just seems to be obvious. All right, we're going to throw it out to you guys. 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. Do you agree with the NBA's decision to keep the one-and-done rule alive?
All right, Brett in Spokane, Washington. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What up, Brett?
Hey, thank you for taking my call. First-time caller. Listen to you guys all the time.
Thank you.
Absolutely love you guys.
Thank
you.
My question is, and I know it's a different sport, but why does nobody ever says anything about college football? If you remember the Ohio State, I can't remember the guy's name.
Maurice Claret.
Correct.
Yep.
He tried to fight it.
He played,
lost,
1 year or 2 years?
Yeah. I agree that even in those situations, to me, a player should have the right. Now, if you don't want to draft a guy, or you don't think people get hurt in the NFL. That was always the argument. Their bodies aren't developed. They're going to get hurt. They need to play 3 years. Well, there's some people who are bigger and stronger, and then there are other people who aren't. So it just, to me, is a individual thing. And if somebody's not ready, then don't draft him if you don't think he can play in the league. But they're afraid of that.
I've always agreed with the physical argument. I think an 18-year-old in most cases will get maimed in the NFL. Now, there are some,
I'm
very
saying
few, I believe, but I don't want to put a kid. I mean, we even see it in basketball. That's why these prodigies go to the G League and they don't light it up. Because the men, even we're seeing it in the Final Four. These transfer guys and these mid-majors who are 21 years old, 20 years old, physically, there's a difference between them and most kids coming right out of high school.
Chris, here's my only argument to you.
I just don't want a kid getting hurt. I don't want to experiment with a kid that gets
But here's my argument. You don't need to make a rule if the kid's not ready to play or is not physically, and you went and you watched him and you looked at his tape or whatever, you shouldn't draft him. You don't need to make a rule. You should be doing what's right.
Tell from tape.
Well, I'm saying what they do, a pro day or whatever it is, you can watch the kid. So I'm just saying, if you believe the guy's not physically ready and all that, don't draft him.
I hear you.
That's all you have to do. You don't draft him.
I get that, but I don't want to. You draft a kid and then he gets,
people get hurt every day in the NFL.
Yeah, but they don't get hurt because they're not strong enough.
Well, then don't draft.
They're not developed enough.
I just think it's a mechanism to keep those kids at that point in college. It was always about we want to keep the college game. We got a free minor league system. I get it.
Well,
we don't want to upset
it. It ain't free no more.
No. But
now,
it was.
The schools should be paying.
Right,
but
it was.
That's the next step, Rob, because it shouldn't just be on boosters and corporations. You know what I mean? But anyway,